Anime Death Spiral, yet again. The only anime podcast that can withstand pressures up to a depth of 30 meters.
Oh, that's deep.
It's pretty deep, and we are going to get deep, aren't we, Nate?
Oh, we're going to get so deep in there today.
Because you know what? Guess what? Guess what?
What? Tell me.
I watched a good anime.
You're lying.
No, I swear to God. There was actually a good anime released, and I watched it. I had the pleasure of watching an actually good animated television show. I am really excited.
I'm going to need details because at this point, I don't believe you. I think that you're making this up to gain my trust, probably hurt me in some way after.
I'm trying to build you up so I can put you down.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I just know that there are no good anime. They don't exist.
You know, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, when was the last time I watched, a good anime? And it's so hard.
Like a good-ass anime. Can you even think of one?
Like a really good anime? I mean, I know, my brain is cooked. It's toast. But you should be able to, recall a good one, right?
Well, I mean, part of the issue for me is that, anime is categorically bad, so any ones that I like are not anime.
I don't count those ones.
Yeah, I don't count those ones because they affirm my values.
Okay, well, check this out. Naoki Urasawa's Pluto adaptation for Netflix dropped, I guess, a week ago. I wasn't actually sure of the release date. I just saw people posting about it and was like, oh shit, I need to run, not walk to my television and put this shit on. And I was praying as it loaded up, please, Netflix, don't fuck this up. Because as we know, they keep fucking shit up.
It's kind of their MO at this point. It may be integrated into their business model. We don't know.
Well, I have read multiple things where they're talking about how Netflix proposes essentially a formula for script writing to their showrunners, which is bad. That's not good.
Yeah, no, that doesn't seem like it's conductive of creativity or quality.
But Pluto, the Astro Boy, loose Astro Boy adaptation by Naoki Urasawa. He's the guy who did 20th Century Boys, right?
Yeah.
This put together by Studio M2, which neither of us really knew anything about. I was kind of surprised.
We looked up some of their other work, and it's not stuff that's, made its way to our attention yet, at least not me.
I mean, I will go check it out because the animation was very nice.
I think the only thing that I recognized from that list was that they worked on the Grand Blue Fantasy anime.
Fantasy?
Flantasy. Flandersy.
The Flantasy? The Flantasy? You're getting ahead of yourself with the
Grand Blue Fantasy is an easy combination of words to say, and it's an anime based off of a mobile gacha game about collecting cute girls.
I'm only familiar with the fighting game, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus.
Wait, are you thinking of BlazBlue?
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 No, Granblue. Granblue Fantasy Versus. Granblue.
I didn't know that I didn't know they had a fighting game. See, I know so little about this.
Yeah, see, the thing was, every once in a while I get tempted to go back into fighting games, even though Skullgirls really was the only one that I really clicked with. But that Guilty Gear game, Guilty Gear Strive, looked so good. Who knows? I'd never played it. I don't know how it plays, but it looked so good that I was almost tempted.
I remember seeing that and being surprised that those scenes and images were 3D game generated environments, because it looks like playing an anime at this point. It looks really good.
Right?
Yeah.
That was what I was saying. It was this looks like what all those 3D anime are trying to look like.
Yeah.
This is what they
exactly.
actually should look like. And they're doing it in this crazy fighting game, which must be a million times harder. Well, no, I shouldn't. Qualifications on it. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I mean, no, I think logically the way I see it is they're able to make all of those kind of extended animations look really good, because comparatively to trying to make an entire season of 22-minute episodes, they just have to focus on 30-second blobs that only activate when you do special moves. right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
I'm not saying the
they're
actual gameplay doesn't look as good, but I think that's less complicated than what we're talking about here.
There's definitely, I mean, there are complications though, right? Because you have to like tween between like generative movements, right? You don't know what the character is going to do like second to second, which is a very complicated problem. But also, I don't know if you know this, but Guilty Gear Strive has like an insanely like historied and complicated lore to it, which includes long animated portions. So there are like straight up episodes of this like Guilty Gear Strive anime just like baked into the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been a feature of the series for a long time, though.
Yeah, I know. It's gotten so insane that I honestly almost bought the game just to be like, what the fuck is that? What could that possibly be after, I don't know, 20 years of Guilty Gear games?
I mean, they're on Guilty Gear XX.
I remember playing Guilty Gear on a PS1, so it's got to be like 20 years.
I was never, I mean, I didn't have a PlayStation, so I didn't really get into the fighting game scene outside of Smash Bros. Until like I played a little bit of BlazBlue in college, which I think BlazBlue is made by the same people, right?
BlazBlue?
BlazBlue.
Yeah, they share some kind of DNA of
Yeah.
ridiculous fighting game pedigrees. You know, I played Street Fighter 2. That was the Super Nintendo game that basically like mainlined directly into my veins for probably a good year and a half.
Dope.
But
Good
I never
choice, good
really
choice.
played. I mean, it is kind of the best one. It's really good, obviously. But I mostly played the jokey ones. Mm-hmm. I mean, no offense to anybody who's like into like the Gundam PS1 fighting games, but like a lot of them were fun because they kind of sucked and were goofy.
Yeah, Gundam Battle Assault 2 is exactly what you're talking about, and yeah, it is the best fighting game, like hands down.
It's wild. It's a wild game. But also stuff like, you know, I would always play Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2 when I was at arcades and stuff, because those are just fun to they're good mash 'em up games. You don't have to be good at Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to have fun with it. You know what I mean?
The good old mashing them up game.
It's fun to just make those characters punch each other, you know?
Yeah.
Here's Tron Bonne, and she's just kicking the shit out of Wolverine. That's awesome.
I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is like that's special. I think that was like such a weird convergence of like the Marvel characters, like the Western famous characters, and the Street Fighter like kind of cast. It's just
Yeah.
it's so it couldn't exist like today without already having been a franchise, right?
These damn Gen Z kids are never going to experience something like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Well, no,
2.
they're the Gen Z version of Marvel vs. Capcom is Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean it is, right?
Yeah.
And that goes way beyond anything Marvel vs. Capcom 2 could have even conceived of.
Yeah, like where else can you have Darth Vader fighting Goku?
Yeah, or I don't know, Ariana Grande fighting the cast of Jujutsu Kaisen to the death with machine guns. That's fucking
Wait,
crazy.
did they do a collab with Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah. I remember we talked a while back about some of the Fortnite anime characters, but they've got obviously the DBZs. Mm-hmm. They've got Jujutsu Kaisen, not the whole cast obviously, but like Itadori and Gojo is in there.
Did they do Bleach?
I don't think so. Naruto is in there.
I mean, yeah.
Boku no Hero Academia's in there. Attack on Titan's in there. Jujutsu Kaisen. Fuck. I mean, that's a lot right off the bat there.
Oh man, they should do Anya. They should do a Spy Family. Spy Family X Fortnite.
I do not want to see fucking videos of people headshotting Anya, okay? I don't want to see that shit. I will lose my shit if you do that. I don't want to see the TikToks of people fucking dancing on Anya's dead body, okay? I'm not in an emotionally stable place to deal with that shit.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, I watched the first episode of Pluto. It's like an hour and 10 minutes long, which caught me totally off guard.
Okay. That's like a little mini movie.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't even notice. I was totally locked in. This is, of course, a sort of... it's almost kind of cyberpunk-y because it is about a period of human advancement where robots are essentially becoming humans in that Blade Runner-y way, but they haven't quite established themselves as like sentient entities.
So in like an Animatrix kind of way.
Sort of.
Yeah.
There's a big subplot. One of the things that kicks off the stories is a prominent android rights activist is murdered. So we're kind of in that period where people are fighting for these rights of these robots as they become essentially humans. There's almost like no difference.
Being cyberpunk is calling a robot woke.
Damn, even these androids are woke now.
Wanting rights like they're humans or something.
I cannot believe you built a libcuck robot. I demand robot rights now. Now, how do you prove that they're human? Well, look at that one. It's obviously soy cuck. But it was better than I ever could have hoped for. The reason I thought I was surprised that it was Studio M2 because I really thought it was like straight up a production IG level, like movie level quality. Mm-hmm. It looks amazing. It looks really amazing. And I can't say enough good things about Naoki Urasawa's writing. I think the dude is a genius. He writes like actually good, interesting stuff, which again, I don't want to...
Now, you see, what you're talking about is art, not anime.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to beat that dead horse, but like it's like an actually good thing, which caught me totally off guard.
Is just the first episode out?
I believe because it's Netflix, they have dumped the entire thing.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering because I know that a lot of series tend to front load the animation budget on the first episode or first few episodes of the series.
Well, don't jinx it. Okay, don't jinx it for me.
I'm not trying to put the negative energy on there. I'm sure that the whole thing looks beautiful, but it's like if the whole series is as good as what you're describing, like that's an achievement.
It is. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I think they were really making a big push. I also think it's not what we would consider like a full season of an anime. I think there's only, well, I should probably just look it up instead of spouting bullshit, but I think there's only 8 episodes.
Facts have no place here.
Every once in a while, there's a time when I actually want to be correct about something. It doesn't happen very often, obviously.
No, I want to set the record clear. We have agendas that we're pushing. That makes us explicitly propaganda, and also not art.
Yeah, there is no artistic value to this podcast. We are purely evil propaganda meant to influence your mind to our nefarious wills.
Yeah.
We will sublimate you and use you for our purposes. And the thing I am commanding you to do is to, yes, go watch all 8 episodes of Pluto on Netflix. There's probably not a better anime currently available for legal streaming online. That's a pretty intense claim, but it's probably true.
That's a pretty high endorsement.
I know, right? I'm just really blown away that there's like, and do you remember I talked about Gene of AI a little bit as a sort of
yeah you did tell me
a blackjack for androids, and I get a lot of this is of course based on Astro Boy, which is all about humans and robots and what is the actual difference, that old canard,
of course.
Yeah, but Gene of AI is a much gentler take on it. It doesn't start immediately with a bunch of murders, but they're treading in the same waters, and I both really think they're like asking the right questions about this stuff. And I kind of hope people don't run with this into the whole AI discussion because, man, people are really losing their minds about what they think AI is, and I'm just hearing insanely stupid shit like left and right about what AI is supposed to be.
Yeah, AI is when Haley Joel Osment gets a human boy face instead of the little robot face.
Remember Jude Law?
I don't know.
He was in Gattaca.
Gattaca. I remember that word. I remember Gattaca.
Gattaca, baby.
Hey.
That's actually that's how I remember like DNA sequences. It's because of that movie. So hey, sometimes movies do influence your thought process in a positive way, because now I know what DNA sequences are. Thank you, Jude Law.
All right.
Shit. Okay. Did you happen to be lucky enough to watch anything good, or were you just wallowing in trash like you usually do?
I wallowed in some trash. I'm mostly just been keeping up with Jujutsu Kaisen, Spy Family, the big ones that are airing right now. I do have some real trash I want to talk about later, but that's going to be in our themed segment.
Sure. Yeah. I've been watching Jujuku and the Spy Fam, of course.
Mm-hmm. Spy by Family.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, they're pretty good. I feel like I wish we could get through some of the Spy Family stuff a little bit faster. I know I said before about like Spy Family kind of spinning its wheels narratively a little bit, and I think we're kind of like caught there, even though I still like it.
I'm seeing that popping up. We're doing a lot more kind of like insular gag bits where it just kind of focuses on one little kind of joke segment. That's kind of where we're at in the anime right now. I think you were theorizing before that the movie was going to be about the upcoming like boat arc, which
on the boat.
Yeah. sorry, Berserk fans. I don't want to.
Yeah, not to traumatize Berserk fans, but we were getting to the boat.
But it turns out that's going to be included in this season's episode list, and the movie is going to be kind of a winter Christmas themed kind of story. I don't know if that's from the manga or if that's original.
Christmas cake. Christmas cake.
I didn't come up with it. You're the one obsessing about it. I'm just saying.
I think it's funny. It's not a big deal. Jujutsu is actually like legitimately the polar opposite right now, where like every episode I feel like very deep fear and tension as we approach the moment.
Oh man.
And I'm really like every episode I'm scared. I'm like, oh god, is it gonna be this one? But not yet. We're still we're just inching forward. I remember saying, I think the last time we sat down to watch, we had 6 episodes of a flashback, right?
Yeah.
And everything since the flashback has taken place over like 6 hours.
Right.
Which is crazy. I mean, it's chronologically we've reached a very dense place.
A lot of stuff is going on. It's kind of... I think when you do like multiple perspectives like this and you have to switch around between scenes, it kind of obscures like what's happening when, right? You know, we don't know what's happening consecutively.
Yeah.
And so it just ends up being a very dense 6 hours in the story.
Yeah. To its credit, this is something like obviously so many anime do, and it's such the DBZ thing where we really are just jumping from fight to fight. Like, here's an interesting fight. Oh, and what about this fight? We're checking in on this fight. They're using their special moves this episode. But in Jujutsu, it works. It's still tense and interesting in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's really a testament to how invested I still am in these characters who, you know, I've read the manga up to date. I am on last week's chapter. But rewatching these very, very old plot points at this point, like literally like 4 years ago, something like that, something insane. I'm still very invested in like the second to section action. So like bravo, Jujuku. It's still really good.
I think that's in big part to Mappa's animation. I think for the anime, they're doing a really good job so far, I would say.
It looks great.
They've had a couple slip ups, I'm not gonna lie, but they've been few and far between. It's mostly been just real top grades, sugar sweet stuff.
It looks dope as hell.
But like, okay, so I'm like a little bit ahead of in the manga where we are in the anime right now.
Oh no!
I'm bouncing.
Oh, no.
I'm bouncing around behind a lot of stuff, and I've kind of fallen behind on reading it, but
Yeah.
one thing that I really don't like, this is like my major criticism for Jujutsu, is I know. I really hate it when they start talking about stuff in like video game terms.
You mean like the mechanics of their stupid magic bullshit?
Not just like the mechanics, but literally calling things like that guy's power, where his power is to literally see the critical hit area, like, on enemies.
Yes. It was supposed to be more the golden ratio, right?
Yeah.
But they kind of translated it over as critical hit.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's a translation issue because it comes... they use a lot of terms like, energy, critical hit, what else? My special move, my final attack.
Yeah.
They talk a lot about like elemental weaknesses and like mechanical like countering of different powers. Like that comes up a lot, and I just see it inching closer and closer to what you described as like boring JoJo, basically.
Yeah, the systematization of action, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like so lame. But don't pretend like you're not wandering around talking about your HP and psychic damage. Come on, man.
Yeah, it throws, it lampshades it all a little bit too much.
I will say, yes, there is, there's a character right now who has an extraordinarily convoluted power, let's say, and it eats up a truly egregious amount of time just talking about what the power does.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most boring things in manga and anime, right? When we have to stop and explain some stupid thing because, like, the author got way too excited about this idea that they had.
Well, okay, so this just came up in the most recent episode, is the guy whose power is, like, being able to see and plan out his moves in animation frames.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I still don't quite get it, but essentially he can set out the next set of his movements in a 1/24th of a second ratio animation frame, and like trap and manipulate people into giant keyframe cell shots.
Yes, and if you thought that was like convoluted in the anime, it's even weirder to read it on the page in the manga. Like, it just does not do anything for me. I guess maybe some people like that. I think that's like completely boring and rote and a waste of my time.
Yeah. Well, just I don't know. Then why is it so interesting when JoJo does it though?
Because every time somebody says something about their powers in JoJo, it's the most insane thing you've ever heard in your entire life.
There's no logical consistency, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, and also, like, nothing really matters. Like, it doesn't even make sense within the universe or, like, within the context of the story. Or, like, even for, even to Araki, I think he doesn't even care that it makes sense, which is the special sauce, I think, is that he does not give a fuck.
I mean, it's all he's just all in on writing his stories to be a means to whatever end is in his mind at the moment, right? It doesn't have to make sense as long as it gets you to where the story needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, the first time you see President Valentine use his power, or the final boss in Golden Wind or whatever, it doesn't matter at all what's actually happening. It's just that some shit is going down, and it's unbelievably insane.
Man, I love JoJo.
It's so good. Actually, that reminds me, I've got to catch up on the manga. I'm so excited. This Hawaii thing is just like going off. It's so cool.
Hey, speaking of manga, let's knock some of these off your list.
Sure.
Now, do you want me to pick again, or do you have something you want to talk about?
No, go ahead.
All right.
What are you interested in?
I want to know, what is Mama Yu Yu?
Okay, this is kind of a weird one. This hasn't been running for a little while. I've been keeping up on it. I think we're maybe only just now breaking double-digit chapter numbers.
Okay, so still in the early phases.
Yeah. So Mama Yu Yu is sort of another entry in the, like, hero demon lord thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this whole, like, entire movement about riffing on old Dragon Quest shit. Have I ever talked about that? That Dragon Quest is like the basis for like all this crazy shit. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think a lot of people assume like Final Fantasy because that's the franchise that was more popular in the West, but it's definitely like specifically Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I think we've talked maybe a little bit about how there are the two flavors of fantasy, right? There is the kind of what we would consider like Western fantasy, the sort of, Tolkien, D&D stuff, which is like Record of Lodoss War, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there is like what is popular now fantasy in anime and manga, which is just riffs on Dragon Quest, which is like a very specific thing. So this is one of those. This is another entry.
I think it's because in Japan, Dragon Quest is just like the default fantasy RPG.
Oh yeah.
It's remained consistent in its theming this entire time, whereas Final Fantasy has gone off in many different directions for good or ill.
Can I don't snitch on me, but I'm just gonna say I don't like those games. They're bad.
Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy?
Dragon Quest games are like bad and boring. I do not understand. I really don't like it.
I've never played one.
I tried to play that last one. I played a lot of Dragon Quest. 11, I think, was the last one.
All right. Okay. All right. Can I make a confession to you in return then?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've never played a Dragon Quest because I don't particularly like Akira Toriyama's art.
Holy shit. Wow. That is... Man... That is not something we should be releasing to the public. That opinion is dangerous. That is not good.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it doesn't gel with me personally.
Oh boy, that threatens the entire integrity of our show. Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend you didn't say that and move on. So, okay. Mama Yu Yu, Mama Yu Yu is an entry in this genre. And like all entries now, there is a subversion of the tropes, right? So the big subversion in Mama Yu Yu is that the demon lord hero wars are sort of in the rear view mirror and have been for a while. And the most recent demon lord hero pairing are a sort of younger woman who has adopted the hero as her child, and they're kind of growing up as a single mom, single child family.
Wait, how old is the hero? Is the hero actually a child, or did she adopt a fully grown man?
No, the hero was a baby when she adopted him.
Okay,
as it's implied.
Oh, phew!
And
all right. Oh, phew.
He's grown up. I think he's supposed to be like anime character age now, which is anywhere between like 13 and 26. Probably 16.
Yeah. Okay. So legally a minor.
Legally a minor, and they grew up in this time of peace. And even though they are still those archetypes, they do not really have those roles to play in society anymore. Society is sort of kind of advanced to modern times. So the hero is just like a kid, and he has to deal with being sort of a minor celebrity, right? Because
he's got Harry Potter syndrome.
Yeah, he's got the little hero mark on his hand, and his mama Yu Yu has the little demon lord mark on her hand, and she just tries to like move past that because she's not about that life, right? That war is over. They're living in peace times. She's trying to take care of her son, who she loves, even though that, nature is supposed to create this like dichotomy where they're supposed to kill each other, right? So that's fun, and it's like touching and sweet.
Okay, now talk about the incest aspect of it.
Hey, buddy. Okay. There's no incest in this one. This is incest free.
Okay, well, I don't believe you when you say that. This premise doesn't lend itself to not having any.
Hold on. I thought about it for a second, and let me rephrase.
Yeah, you got to walk back some words.
Okay, well, let me give you the actual premise, right? So our hero.
All right, this is the amended premise.
Our hero is just a normal kid, right? And he's starting to get to the point in his life where he's questioning like what the hero thing is supposed to be about, and he's feeling kind of inadequate. Like, I'm just a normal kid, but I'm supposed to be a hero, that kind of feeling. But he doesn't really have a heroic role to play in a modern world. And he becomes very uncomfortable with that because puberty or whatever. Until one day, a hero from an alternate dimension enters his world and decides essentially to kill his mom because she's the demon lord. And in his world, they're still fighting, right?
Dope.
And he saves his mom, but like it's not great. She loses an arm. It's bad. A lot of bad stuff happens. But he does manage to get rid of this guy and kind of realizes that he's like the weakest hero ever,
So he's got to beef up like us.
Yeah. So he becomes like kind of obsessed with this idea of power. And he's eventually, he follows that path and he finds a mentor, and in that process another hero appears, and these heroes are all
Are they all coming from other dimensions?
Yes, this is from yet another dimension, and
Okay.
actually this one appears with another demon lord, and they're both from different dimensions. Everybody's from a different dimension.
So not only is it like generic fantasy, but it's multiversal generic fantasy.
Yes, and the hero that he finds, the second hero, is amenable to him, and she's like a hot chick.
Of course. Perfect.
And he finds himself having very strange feelings about this. This person is an alternate dimension version of him, but he's kind of into it.
Okay, well that's different.
Oh, really? Really?
It's not incest if it's a alternate version, different gender version of yourself.
Oh, yeah? It is, huh? Interesting. Can you explain that further? So you're saying if you're fucking yourself, it's not incest.
Yeah, if you have sex with your clone.
If you have sex with your clone, that's not incest. You truly believe this. You think that's true. Let me get this straight. You think that's true?
Well, yeah, because you can just kill them afterwards. It's not murder because they're your clone. It's suicide.
Oh, right. That's what that movie's about. The protege. Oh, the prestige. Excuse me. I fucking got it wrong.
Oh, yeah, yes. That's what the prestige is about.
I don't remember too much about it, but I do think Hugh Jackman fucked the clones before he killed them, right? I think so.
Yeah. Well, I
Who
mean,
knows?
he at least gave him a handy.
Yeah, it's been years since I watched that movie.
It seems like something Christopher Nolan would put in his movies.
Yeah. So I think Mama Yu Yu is really cute. I kind of wish we had. This is one of those things. You remember I was talking about Ragnar Crimson in this way, but like I kind of wish we had spent more time developing the relationship between him and his mom, because I thought they were really cute and sweet together, and I like that aspect of it. Right, people who are against their will cast in roles that are supposed to be, society dictates they're supposed to be oppositional. Finding what they have in common is much more powerful to them than what they're supposed to hate it about each other or whatever. I want that aspect of it. I find that to be the most interesting aspect of it. I don't think transitioning this into a battle shonen like within 10 chapters is my favorite choice. Not my favorite thing. But I do like it. I think it's fun. It's going somewhere. I'm interested to see where that place is.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Moving down the list here. Why don't you tell me about... Tell me about No/Name.
No Name. Okay, this is interesting. I think I've only read one chapter of this so far. It has not been running for a long time. I'm not even sure if chapter 2 is out yet. This is actually something that appeared in the manga like Jump Plus creators. Are you familiar with this?
A little bit. Is it basically just kind of like a pitch program for fledgling manga artists?
Yeah, sort of. It's like the self-publishing arm of Jump, I guess, or maybe Manga Plus or like Shueisha.
Kind of like their answer to Webtoon.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So there's a lot of shovelware that gets in there. If you just browse around, you'll see what I mean immediately. But this one was recommended to me because it is by one of the key figures behind the cyberpunk anime, Edge Runners.
Oh, really?
Which is like, okay, yes, I guess I'm in. You got me. Wow.
Yeah, no, you've piqued my attention now.
Yes, I've piqued your attention now. And this is about a world where names have power. Quite literally. Like, what you name your child is that name manifests a specific power in the child.
Okay.
And so there's like very strict regulation in this world about like what you're allowed to name people. You do not get to just like choose a name for your kid when they're born. Which is kind of funny. It's a funny idea.
Yeah, I like that, though. You know, you don't see that kind of old school style of magic played around a lot in anime, where the true name kind of concept of something, where names and specifically like the true name of a being like gives you power over them. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I like seeing that.
That's a fun one.
It reminds me of the Hallmark Merlin miniseries with Sam Neill.
the best Merlin. Yes.
Absolutely the best Merlin.
Absolutely. Yeah, also like some of the more let's call them Catholic tinged manga will invoke that same thing, especially when it comes to demons, right? The whole demonic knowing their real name gives you power over them, that kind of thing.
Man, anime just assumes that the Catholic Church is full of wizards, basically.
I mean, they really do, but then so does like all horror movies, right? I'm shouting out The Pope's Exorcist yet again. Holy shit. Watch that movie just for the boss battle. I swear to God.
Being an exorcist actually does give you superpowers.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing. I cannot support that incredibly stupid movie enough. Anyway, our two main characters are essentially a guy who can summon wolves and a girl who can turn into a big bear.
Dope.
And those are their name powers. And it's a little unclear, but I think they work for an agency, a governmental agency that regulates names. So they track down people who have unregistered names or have been given like illegal powers based on their names. And so there's sort of like a buddy cop thing going on here, but also sort of an exploration of like the morality behind legally defining what is and what isn't acceptable to like give your child, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've got questions about how the system works. Like,
me too.
Is it consistent across names that like this specific name has this specific power?
The implication seems to be that you can get a pretty rough idea of what a power will manifest as based on the name you use. Yeah.
What about people who change their name, like legally?
You're not allowed to do that.
What about people who change their name illegally?
They get arrested or killed. It seems like.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how, like, before you even ask, I don't know how, like, the marriage thing works. I don't know about, like,
does it only go off your first name? Because, like, people's last name change. Or does it only go off your last name?
I have no idea. Like I said, I've only read the first chapter. I'm waiting for more because I really liked it. And I really like the art. I should say that, too. Like, it's got a great look to it. It doesn't have that generic anime look to it. It's got a little bit of its own personal flavor, which is what I'm always looking for in a manga. And I like what they bring to it, but it's also like extremely crisp compared to like, I don't want to shit on independent comic creators. That's like the easiest dog to kick in the world. But you don't usually find stuff that's this crisp in the old independent bin.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think it's really cool. I think it's great.
All right. Well, another one down. Let's see. Not that one. I didn't know that they made a manga about Grimace from the McDonald's lore universe.
Yeah, the fun thing about fast food in Japan is that they really expand on the lore, We don't really get too deep into the lore of our mascots in America. I don't know what that is culturally about us.
Well, I mean, Ronald McDonald is the king of Burger Town, and he holds authority over Mayor McCheese.
Sure, but we never get, an exploration of what his powers actually are,
Well, he can shoot beams that produce burgers. I assume he has some kind of Midas burger touch.
Damn, you think so?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I think that he can summary execute any political dissenters by turning them into cheeseburgers at any moment.
So he is sort of a tyrant then. I thought because they have a mayor, I thought there was more of a democratic process.
No, he's mayor in name only. Ronald rules over Burger Town with an iron fist like a god king.
Mayor McCheese is more of a chancellor then?
He's more of a political figurehead. Yeah.
A prime minister?
He's a Medvedev to Ronald's Putin.
Yeah. Grimace is a new horror comic. This is another one where I've only read the first chapter of. It's pretty insidious. It's about a family that moves into a new apartment complex. And
always scary.
Yes. And this comic is obviously very morally clear that landlords are evil because
Dope.
They soon realize that the landlord is extraordinarily evil.
Like cartoonishly evil or what are we talking about?
Cartoonishly evil.
Like he's kicking puppies?
He's doing worse shit than that, buddy. Oh my God. The shit that this dude does. He walks around and he forces all the tenants to smile all the time in his presence. And this is a power play because he's incredibly disgusting, making the smiling fairly difficult to maintain, as the name implies. But if you don't smile, well, buddy, you'd be lucky if you died.
What does he do?
He does some fucking gnarly shit.
So what? I mean, what is he a murderer? What's going on here?
Oh, he's worse than a murderer. He's a lot worse than a murderer.
Jesus.
It's implied that he possibly has some kind of cornfield-esque powers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people do not leave the apartment building.
I see. So this is what we're really talking about. This is a modified death game, where the death game is just being a renter.
It's more like a commentary. It's a smart political commentary on the power the landlord class wields against the working class. The rentier class has a power of life and death, of true coercion. The coercive ability of the rentier class is sort of like a magic telepathic ability to control you, control your emotions, control your behaviors. Because if you do not behave, they can end your life. So this is a very clear metaphor. It's a very smart political commentary on modern Japanese living, and also it's super gross.
Well, you see, the thing is that I'm American, and nothing about that seems out of the normal for me.
Well,
I mean, that all just sounds like what it's like to rent.
Yeah, I mean, you don't rent anymore, so maybe you're growing numb to the horror of it after all this time. But yeah,
hey, I don't want the plebes to know that.
God forbid they know you do not rent a house and in fact own one. God, they're gonna tear us apart on the message boards for that.
God, I hope so. It'll mean someone's engaging with this show.
Yeah, thank God. Finally, they're roasting us because one of us is a landowner. Yeah, that one's pretty gross. New horror shit, psychological damage. It actually reminds me a lot of a comic called Domu. Don't know what that means. Don't ask. I bet it means something really simple, and I'll feel stupid when somebody tells me, just like Last Time. By, of course, the creator of Akira. about a apartment building being controlled by like a creepy telepathic shut-in who lives on the top floor. Also recommend that. Much shorter and complete and cool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Domu.
I'm gonna check that out. All right, one more before we take a break. Tell me about Tengubarai no Sankyoudai.
Tengubarai no Sankyoudai. I hope I got any of that right.
I think we got it okay.
Tengubarai no Sankyoudai. Should I say it 3 more times?
Yeah, for clarity.
As the name suggests, this is sort of a battle shonen about fighting Tengu.
So with the guys with the big noses and the red faces?
Yeah, exactly. Now, in this battle shonen, they kind of manifest as Bigfoots.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and like the power level of the Bigfoot seems to grow as they shrink. So like a human-sized Bigfoot looks pretty much the same as a regular human, but are like thousands of times more powerful than like a Bigfoot-sized Bigfoot.
Okay.
And that's kind of the gimmick, is Tengus eat human flesh in order to gain their knowledge and become smarter so that they can like digivolve into their final forms, which are superpowered human beings.
Cool.
These transformations are supposed to be prevented by a series of shrine warriors who
Oh, wait, the Tengu are the bad guys.
they are for now. I mean, I haven't read a lot of it. Anyway, our main character is one of these shrine warriors, and so his job is to go out every day and kill as many as he can find and try to scare people away from going up into the mountains, right? Like, hey, don't go up in the mountains. There's Bigfoots up there. They're going to eat you and become smart.
That doesn't seem like a cool thing to do, like for a job.
It seems like it sucks. Also, it seems like to create a shrine warrior powerful enough to defeat Tengu, you basically have to torture them for their entire childhood. So that's not great. They have to like drink sewage and get beaten every day. It seems like a pretty bad deal.
Yeah. What are the benefits here?
I guess you get stronger. I really don't. I'm not sure about the specifics.
Wow.
So this shrine warrior in particular has 2 younger brothers, and their parents have been dead for a while. So he's kind of assumed the fatherly role. He's taking care of them. They all love each other very much. But the younger brothers never had to experience all this horrible child abuse. So they don't really know too much about his life. You know, they kind of live a normal life. Until one day, when he loses his temper a little bit, his younger brother kind of wants to see what his whole life is about, ends up in the forest, gets attacked by a Tengu. Our main man runs in, has to protect his little brother, right? In the process, he gets half snacked.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because he's an idiot and deserved to.
Yeah, he's pretty dumb. But check this shit out. He snacks back.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. He eats Tengu meat straight off the bone. Becomes half Tengu.
Okay. All right. So wait, isn't that Tokyo Ghoul?
Well, sort of. Yeah. Well, in Tokyo Ghoul, he like gets full on like heart surgery.
Hey, isn't that Guy Pearce in Ravenous?
Does he like eat monster meat? I thought they were just cannibals.
No, the whole idea is that eating cannibal meat gives you superpowers, and if you eat another cannibal, you get to absorb the powers of all the people he's eaten.
Wow, I totally forgot that there was a powers aspect to that movie. It's been a while. Yeah, so he gets Tengu powers essentially.
Okay.
And becomes a super powerful Tengu slayer. But guess what? These other shrine warriors, they don't really like that.
Yeah, that seems like kind of going in the face of their whole torturing kids to get powerful dynamic.
Yeah. You know what? There probably is a little bit of jealousy involved. But they're like, well, this dude's probably going to just become a Tengu. I mean, he ate the Tengu meat. Tengus who eat humans become humans. Humans who eat Tengu, they probably become Tengu, right? Logically.
I mean, the math works out, like...
Yeah.
Okay. So
it pretty much it goes from there as you would expect. It's a battle shonen.
Sure. Now, you still didn't answer my question. Do the Tengu have big noses.
Yeah, but not... The human forms do not at all. They just look like guys.
That's unfortunate. I think the human form should have, like, the big long nose and the weird mustache.
Yeah, or at least when they lose their temper and go on a rampage, the nose should grow like Pinocchio, right?
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like that.
I mean...
kind of like in vampire movies when they lose their cool and... they do the cut where they turn back and they have monster makeup on.
Yeah, they look all gross.
Yeah. I think it should be like that, but with the weird, stupid noses.
The Bilbo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That would be so cool. Yeah, there's nothing particularly, like, super interesting like that going on. It's fine. It's fine for a battle shonen. It's not even, like, the worst battle shonen I've read recently. It's mids. It's pure mids.
All right. Well, at least we know where we stand.
Yeah.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's give it a rest.
All right. Okay, welcome back, Anime Death Spiral. Here we are.
Here we are, talking about all the crimes associated with food manga.
More numerous and more horrifying than I would have assumed.
Yeah. Now, this is a little weird. Nate, you wanted to talk about food, knowing full well I'm on a hunger strike until they make Venom the good guy in the new Spider-Man game. So you are a little teasing me a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that you felt so strongly about that opinion.
I feel so strongly about Venom. I can't tell you enough, like, how...
Do they not have a Venom mode in the new Spider-Man?
Spider-Man is briefly symbiotic in the new Spider-Man, but Venom is a bad guy the whole time.
Okay. I was really hoping...
I want good guy.
Did you ever play the old Ultimate Spider-Man PS2 game?
No, I don't think so.
See, I loved that one because it gives you exactly what you want. It has a dual campaign where you alternate between Spider-Man and Venom, and once you beat the main story, you can just switch between them freely, and then it's like an open world kind of mini GTA style Manhattan free world kind of thing.
Sure. But
it was really fun to play.
Is Venom a good guy?
I mean, he has his heroic moments at the end.
Okay, you're equivocating a little bit.
Okay. Oh, you want Venom to morally be in the right when you say the good guy. I thought you wanted to be able to play as Venom.
I mean, I don't need like intense moralistic Venom, but when Carnage shows up, it's like Venom has to kill Carnage to stop Carnage from happening, right? He's a good guy in those circumstances. Why couldn't we have that?
I guess. I mean, that does happen in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game that I'm talking about. But also you have to consider that a major gameplay mechanic of Venom is that his health constantly drains, and to replenish it, you have to eat brains.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
So you have to, like, go around and eat random, like, citizens, and then eventually the cops show up and you have to run away or kill them all and eat them.
Do you remember that Xbox game that basically ripped off that entire concept?
Oh, Prototype.
Yeah, Prototype.
Yeah, I do remember Prototype.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He's kind of the good guy in that. You fight the sketchy-ass government agency.
Yeah. Prototype is kind of like a Venom game.
Yeah, it's close enough, I guess. I mean, I just want Venom. I want more Venom. Venom's dope as hell.
and you're not eating until then.
Not until they fix this fucking Spider-Man game. I will go hungry.
All right, well, let me tell you about some of this weird and trashy food anime that I looked up.
Fine, if you insist. What's the deal with food anime?
Well, I just, cooking
What's
is
the deal?
No, finish it. Finish the Seinfeld bit.
What's the deal with the food anime? I mean, it's drawings, but it's food. How are you gonna eat it?
Now, you're saying they're just drawing food, Jerry?
It just tastes like paper when I put it in my mouth. It's bullshit.
No, cooking is a hobby that's near and dear to my heart, and I like to look up manga that interests me, have topics that interest me. So I got on a bit of a Japanese recipe kick recently.
Sure.
And to go with it, I kind of trying to look into some food-based anime and manga. You know, obviously Food Wars we've talked about before.
Horribly.
But there's a couple on here that stood out to my attention, and one of them is an absolutely bizarre, not so much weird in the content, but bizarre that this premise exists and that someone made, like, it's a complete story. It's 18 chapters, so about 2 tankobon volumes.
Okay.
But it's just so weird that this got made, because it's both, like, benign and sinister. And it's a manga called Solitary Gourmet, where the premise is it just kind of follows around this middle-aged Japanese businessman. He's a foreign goods importer by trade in the late 80s. So right at the end, right at the end of Japan's big economic boom.
Yeah.
And
the shadow approaches.
Yeah. And it's just these, like, little 10, 11-page chapters of snippets of his life where he's out and about doing business, you know, on his way from or to meetings or traveling to go meet somebody to talk about importing goods or whatever the fuck he does. And
right.
His major character trait is that he just gets so into working that he forgets to eat. And so he's always, these chapters are always in moments of him desperately looking to find something to eat after forgetting to eat for 12, 16 hours, whatever.
Wow. This is uncomfortably relatable.
Yeah. Hitting a little close to home there.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And it's centered as kind of like an internal monologue on him. And his internal, I'm just going to say, judgmental shaming of all the people that he sees in the restaurants, including himself. He's a horrible, self-loathing man.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. He just sits down to eat and just, like, shits on everybody in the restaurant? That's the whole... That's the loop?
Yeah, the chapters are basically a dual... He'll sit down at the restaurant after, you know, having to find one for whatever reason. A common one is, I'm in this town for business and I forgot to eat lunch. And so now I'm in unfamiliar territory looking to get a bite to eat. That's a pretty common setup in most of these chapters.
Okay.
And so he'll sit down at some kind of, like, small, like, mom and pop style cafe or maybe something that a business associate recommended to him in the area.
Sure.
And he'll go and sit down, and then he'll order something, and then we'll kind of get a breakdown of what he ordered, which is cool. I like seeing kind of like a more intimate look at kind of traditional Japanese recipes, not so much the ones that we're familiar with, but... You know, they do a very detailed, intricate drawings of all the stuff that he eats and orders.
Okay, so...
Especially how much they cost. And it was actually, after a while, it really reminds me of the way Patrick Bateman, like, talks about clothes and accessories in American Psycho.
Yeah. Does he exchange business cards and comment on them, perhaps?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
But generally, the chapters are him. He'll order something. We'll get the breakdown of what he ordered, and then it'll just be kind of an internal monologue of him either reflecting on himself and his life, or, like, kind of reflecting on his own internal expectations of what these strange people that are in the restaurant with him are like, and why the restaurant must have the clientele that it does.
So I kind of assumed that he would be reviewing the food.
No.
But he isn't doing that?
No, that's actually that's something that caught my interest early on, is that he's not really reviewing the food. He is reviewing, this is an author, this is a real man, the author of the manga, reviewing his own personal experiences at restaurants in life, but then filtering it through this made-up manga character. These are all thoughts that the author obviously had themselves, and then I'm just going to have this boring-ass businessman anime character say it for me.
So this is very much a self-insert.
I can only assume.
Wow. So do you think the restaurants are real places?
I would like to think so. The details that he goes into about the characters and the way they look and the way they're drawn, they seem like they must be referencing real places, which I like. I think that's cool. But
I don't know if I would like that if I was one of the subjects of these takedowns. If I saw a guy, a grumpy dude sitting alone, like furiously sketching away at 2 tables down or whatever, I think I would get a little pissed off.
I mean, understandable.
Hey man, what the fuck?
Well, okay, so like the first chapter, all right, is him going, I can't remember, he's not in Tokyo, he's out in some other city in Japan, not Osaka.
Yeah.
But, unfamiliar territory. He's kind of wandering around a shopping street, looking for something to eat. And the first thing that his internal monologue says that we as the readers see, that wasn't just like context as to why he's there, is him saying like, man, it really sucks that I got to the end of this shopping street and didn't make up my mind about what to eat. I can't go back because everyone will think I'm a shady person.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
He's like, I didn't make up my mind by the time I got to the end of the street. So if I double back, they're going to think I'm like a thief or something. That's kind of the mentality this guy has.
Why? I do not understand that at all.
Because lurking is suspicious, presumably.
But lurking? Because you walked back up a street? Man, these guys are messed up, man.
So, eventually he kind of finds this hole in the wall, kind of mom and pop place that he sits down at, and immediately, like, the first thing he thinks is like, wow, everybody's wearing their hat inside here. They sure do it different in this part of the country. In a very snide tone. Like, he's obviously looking down on these dudes.
People from this place do like this.
Yeah. Well, what has happened is he's making a class play, right?
Yeah.
He instantly notices that a lot of people are getting food to go, wearing work clothes, obviously blue-collar kind of clientele at this place.
Right.
And, he sits down, he gets his stir-fried pork, kind of eats it, and just thinks to himself, like, wow, they must think that I'm a freak for wearing a suit here. Basically implying that they're a bunch of yokels that have never seen a business dude before.
This dude sounds like he sucks. I hate this guy.
Oh, yeah, no, he does. Okay. I'm getting to my favorite part.
Okay.
So one chapter, I mean, this is after like 6 or 7 chapters of more or less the same beat-by-beat story.
Sure.
Of him going to a restaurant and kind of making weird little commentaries on what he thinks he knows about the people there just by observing, right?
Right.
He's that kind of guy. The people watcher.
Right.
So he's driving, and he's on a phone call with some business associate talking about like what imports they're going to try and look for next. And his guy on the other end of the phone suggests like, well, vintage clothing is getting really big right now. Why don't we import like some vintage leather jackets from Paris? And that like sends him into what I assumed was like kind of a daydream fantasy. Well, he's like, vintage leather jackets from Paris. And then it kind of like goes into a fantasy kind of daydream state where he's thinking about himself as a much younger man having an argument with a beautiful woman who reveals herself to be his girlfriend and a aspiring Japanese model / actress, and they're living in Paris together, and he's wearing a vintage leather jacket, and they're about to break up because he wants to move back to Japan and she wants to continue on with her modeling career. And he goes to put it around her shoulders, but she pulls away. And then it reveals that is like part of his life. That's not a daydream. That was something that happened to him. So now we have revealed this guy to be a classic cool dude on top of being
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Now, I believe it was last episode or the one before it where I talked about how Seinfeld invented the butler, the crime butler. This guy is just Jay Peterman. That's a Jay Peterman story.
Totally.
What the fuck?
So he's just
so
been this
weird.
boring ass middle-aged dude who eats at restaurants and like looks down on people. And then out of nowhere we get this flashback revealing that he had like a torrid relationship with a now famous model that he regrets ending, and all of that comes flooding back to him because he wants to import leather jackets from Paris.
I'm not saying people can't have lived many lives, I understand that. I would never begrudge somebody their past. It's just bizarre that, one, this is like a self-insert character who is now like really big upsing himself in that way. That's pretty weird. And two, the weird Jay Peterman thing is just throwing me for a loop. Do you know anything about the author? Is that true as well?
No, I haven't looked up anything about the author.
Okay, maybe it's better not to know.
Who is the author? I should probably shout out this name just to be fair.
Yeah, to avoid him if you see him in public.
Yeah. Solitary Gourmet. Oh, this was turned into a J-drama series. That's cool.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm. Masayuki Kusumi.
All right, Kasumi, what's up?
Yep. Oh, actually, two authors listed. Masayuki Kasumi and Jiro Taniguchi co-wrote and drew the art for this manga that eventually got adapted into a live-action series.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's two judgmental old men.
Yeah. Basically.
Wow. Their powers combined, they become the Solitary Gourmet.
And okay, I got one more chapter that stood out to me that I thought was just wild.
Okay.
He's in Osaka, right?
Yeah.
And first of all, for context, Osaka is kind of known for being more of like a laid back. This is in terms of Japanese social context, right?
Okay.
Osaka people are a little bit more friendly, let's say.
Sure.
That seems to, which again, this is kind of an aside, but that one of my favorite things in manga translation is that the like Kansai Osaka accent in Japanese often gets translated into like a Southern American accent, like when they do the VA. I think that's really funny.
Now, this is something we did mention before, but this is one of the big splits between us because I always think that should be translated as like a Minnesota accent.
No, I think that's wrong. I think
like a northern Midwestern accent.
The Hokkaido accent, that's got to be the Minnesota one.
No, I think of that as like a Quebecois accent. Like it's got a tinge of a foreign language in it, It's kind of like a French hick.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a Russian accent to their Japanese.
Just a little bit of a touch of it, yeah.
Yeah. I do like when the Okinawa accent gets translated as like LA surfer guy.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think the implication being right is that the Osaka dialect is sort of like, it's the southern comfort. It's like, hey, you're down in Louisiana, you're getting like a little bit of like a drawl going, and it's like we're farming people, we've got our own culture down here.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes into this little izakaya food stall there and instantly is like taken aback at people making like dick jokes, basically. He's like,
no.
wow, people really do things different down in Osaka. and they make a point of it too. Like he throws off the vibe of the entire room. Like people are having a good time, and then he sits down and is just acting visibly uncomfortable around all these strangers that were like just having a good time. They're just palling around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like
in the barbershop. Just having
basically
palling around, having a good time.
And he's like, wow, I sure make everybody here uncomfortable. I guess it's because these hicks have never seen a business guy before.
Meanwhile, he's like shaking and glaring at everyone.
And so where this is going is that he starts to notice, I forgot to mention that he's going there to get breakfast because it's early in the morning. He's on his way to a business meeting. And what has happened is he has encountered the people from the night crew that are just getting off of their shift that sleep during the day.
Yeah.
And they're all ordering like drinks and beer and cocktails at like, 9 in the morning. And he's just like totally taken aback, shocked by this. By the way, he does not drink for an unspecified, it seems like a medical reason. He never says why. He just always says, I can't drink. No exposition on that.
He literally cannot.
Yeah, just whenever it's offered, he says, sorry, I can't drink. But he smokes all the time.
Wow, this dude sounds so cool.
So, yeah. I thought it was such a weird vibe. I had to talk about it a little bit.
Okay. But unlike the others, the food doesn't make him horny.
No. You see, he's anti-horny.
He's anti-horny.
Yeah. No. He's specifically anti-horny. He wants a cool Japanese trad wife. That's not a world famous model / actor.
Oh God, no! He's a trad guy.
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention there's like a super huge like conservative through line running through this whole thing because again, this is taking place in the late '80s during the big kind of Japanese economic boom. And it was written during the downturn in the 90s. So this is a dude kind of reminiscing on all of these experiences he had when he was making money.
Okay. And this was published when? In the 90s?
Let's see. Yeah, in the 90s. It looks like the original run of the TV show, which is... Wow, okay. I was not prepared for this.
Oh, shit. New developments.
So there are 18 chapters of this manga. There are 108 episodes of the TV show adaptation, 10 TV specials, and 12 original special episodes. Solitary Gourmet has been running from 1994 to 2015.
That's intense. This shit, it blew up. People love this guy for some reason.
Yeah. I was not expecting this.
A lovable curmudgeon.
Yep.
Wow, sounds like someone in a certain television show we might know. Someone who, making the connecting tissue here, we love a ligament, don't we, folks? A certain lovable curmudgeon who eats sandwiches in bed with his girlfriend.
Sorry, I have no idea who you're talking about. What?
Inextricably tying food and sex together into one complete package. He's short, he's bald, he's lovable. Obviously, I'm talking about George Costanza. Everything in anime goes back to Seinfeld.
Oh, shit! You know what? You're totally right.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's all Seinfeld, baby. You scraped off the top layer of any anime. There's Seinfeld right there looking back at you.
Wait, but what about all the anime that came out before Seinfeld?
I mean, it was just tapped into the same cultural zeitgeist, wasn't it?
Everything before was just leading up to Seinfeld, and everything after was just coming from Seinfeld.
Well, let me tell you. I do not know this manga. I don't know what this guy looks like. But he is Larry David.
No, he is. He's totally Larry David. He's a Larry David with the with the Palestinian chicken.
Yes, and He's also George's dad, who runs this ridiculous import company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be. This dude sucks. He's a big capitalist money guy. I don't like that. I don't like his views on the working man and how it's every episode that focuses on that dynamic of him like reviewing his experience is always like, wow, these guys were much nicer and not as dumb and hicky as I thought.
Yeah. Great. Cool, dude. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Big city guy energy. I don't like it.
Yeah. I guess I had thought there is another manga, and now I never read it, so I can't even remember what it's called because I'm not a huge food guy, but I had confused this initially with the one where the businessman kind of wanders throughout Japan trying all the like bakeries and sweet shops, and that one is all about how much he loves the food. Seems like the like Negaverse version of this.
Now, it's interesting that you say that because they do make a point in this that like he really likes sweets. Like he likes them a lot, especially traditional Japanese sweets.
Okay, maybe this is the same thing. It's weird that when I read about it, they didn't mention the curmudgeon part.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think that the story is trying to make him come off as a curmudgeon. That's just what I'm seeing with my eyes on the page. I think that the author thinks that this character is coming off incredibly endearing and empathetic.
Wow, this is just your clear-eyed evaluation of this guy.
Yeah, this is a guy stumbling into areas where he doesn't belong and people don't appreciate his presence and being both confused and ashamed at that fact.
Wow. Okay, well, this sucks in a completely original way that I would not have ever seen coming.
Now, again, I can't vouch for all 108 episodes of the TV show.
His redemption arc in season 14 is really something.
Yeah. But it did get me on to trying to look for some other food-based anime, because I know they're out there.
Oh, there are plenty of alternatives.
Yeah, and one that I stumbled upon that it reminded me of something that we talked about recently, which was I'm in love with the villainess. And this is an anime / manga called Koizumi-san Loves Ramen Noodles. And you know what? It stood out to me because I love ramen noodles too. I love them a lot.
Damn, dude.
A little bit too much, some would say.
I don't know what you're implying there. I don't want to know.
But no, it's essentially the same thing, the same energy of we have like kind of this high school girl who is gay but like vaguely not gay, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you mean.
You know,
I was flashing immediately to Chika from Kaguya-sama. That's my touchstone for a ramen loving girl.
No, totally different. Put that out of your mind.
Now, is actually, just as a side note, the guy who is like judging Chika for her ramen abilities, is that the guy from that manga?
I could totally see that being a parody of that dude. It's in that same mindset that those two characters exist.
Yeah, he keeps throwing out these like weirdly like paternalistic and misogynistic comments about this girl just because she's eating ramen.
It's exactly that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fucking weird. Okay, so this other girl...
Imagine if that guy now was a cute high school anime character girl.
I'm imagining Chika.
No, Chika was the subject in that one. So, Koizumi-san Loves Ramen Noodles is about a high school girl who has basically a crush on this girl in her class.
Right.
She's not in love, she's her number one fan. Whatever that means. Which is a term that pops up quite a bit, I've noticed.
Okay. Number one fan. I gotcha, okay.
Yeah. And so the titular Koizumi-san is kind of like this deadpan, emotionless, like basically kind of dissociating from reality any moment that she's not eating ramen.
Wow.
And when she does eat ramen, we get just these really intimately sensually animated scenes of her slurping noodles and like giving like commentary on ramen facts and what the best combination of ramen is.
Okay.
Soup combinations, broth types, real kind of like inside baseball stuff.
Sure. All right.
And then that's kind of paired against this other girl who just kind of has this weird obsessive stalkerish. I mean, she's a stalker, basically. and they make jokes about that, about how she's like constantly following behind her and taking pictures when she's not looking. And
yeah, it's funny. It's funny to do that.
Yeah.
It's like funny and endearing.
When it's two girls, it's funny and comedy.
It's cool and fun.
And just like a lack of understanding of, consent and personal space.
Yeah.
And then that is, contrasted with, again, Koizumi, who is, very emotionless, very kind of like, she won't acknowledge anybody unless they're talking about ramen or currently eating ramen. And when she does eat ramen, she just, it comes off as a sexual experience.
Well, yeah, this aspect is nothing new. I mean, we've already talked about food wars.
Yeah.
The food is sex thing. Again, this is George Costanza from Seinfeld. He already did this.
Well, I think
connected the two.
It goes a lot deeper than just food being horny in anime. I think that's kind of like the end result of a lot of these other kind of tropes that you see. Because, like, yeah. I think, like, okay, the whole indirect kiss thing, I think is totally tied to this, right?
That is a very weird phenomenon that I find quite strange.
But it's like the concept of sharing food or sharing stuff that your mouth both interacts with is like it totally equated to like a sensual and sexual like act.
Yes, whereas when we were growing up, we just called that backwash.
Yeah, it was gross and you didn't want to do it.
It was gross. Or already been chewed gum.
Yeah, ABC. Imagine a manga about a dude who, like, gets boners about ABC gum.
He, like, chips it off of the desks after school when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So that has to be a thing already. I was thinking, honestly, when we make the connection, I was thinking about the beginning of Chainsaw Man when...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Makima basically immediately enslaves Denji just by buying him a hot dog.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Like, that's all it takes?
First of all, it being a hot dog, that is very intentional. We know what you were doing there, Fujimoto.
That's very funny. It's very funny.
It's very funny, especially when Makima buys him 2 wieners.
I think that's interesting. That's an interesting connection.
Well, okay, so, like, that's kind of the... Food was kind of the symbol, though, in Chainsaw Man for Denji's kind of submission to authority with the public security people.
Well,
right?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
he wanted to eat toast with jam on it. Like, that was his dream.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And of course, I mean, he does.
And what does he want to do immediately after he gets to eat the toast with jam? He wants to touch a girl's boobs. Like, that's immediately that's where his mind goes.
Oh, absolutely. Those are his 2 goals in life.
Yeah.
And he does end up eating Makima.
I mean, spoilers, but also, like, I think that just really ties in thematically to what I'm saying already.
That is the culmination of their relationship. Now, Fujimoto treats those things with a subtlety or a complication that is not usually introduced in most of these food manga and anime. You know, most of the time we are seeing shit that's built on the Toriko model of, man, a guy wants to eat something, and so he goes and gets it and eats it, and it's cool and good. We see that replicated quite a lot. I mean, Toriko is immediately referenced, like, in Hunter x Hunter. There's the entire Gourmet Hunter arc, where they're trying to satisfy the, frankly, offensively fat Gourmet Hunter by cooking him increasingly dangerous meals. Dungeon Meshi is coming out in December, and is about hunting hunting increasingly dangerous foodstuffs, and then spending long amounts of time page-wise describing these loving meals, these like increasingly intricate and well-drawn foodstuffs coming together in extraordinary detail.
Oh man, I can't wait for Trigger to get their hands on that.
I mean, I'm extraordinarily excited for Dungeon Meshi. I think Dungeon Meshi is the best food manga, period.
But, I mean, that one, again, separating anime from actual art, that one doesn't have food that makes you horny, to my knowledge.
It has food that makes you repel ghosts. It has food that just straight knocks you out. It has food that makes you hallucinate, obviously. It has food that makes you dream of your most deeply held desires. That's kind of a horny, right?
We're getting closer.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, that's warmer, I would say.
Food has a lot of powers in Dungeon Meshi besides just filling you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's Dungeon Meshi is the cooler version of cooking in Zelda, right? The same thing.
Yes.
Or Monster Hunter.
Lots of buffs.
I guess is a closer comparison.
Yes. I think the thing that's interesting and separates Dungeon Meshi from a lot of these things, and even, like Food Wars, there's more than one Food
Wars is
about
explicitly horny though. Like that's kind of like a thing. It's the food attacks are sexual attacks.
Yes, but what I think is interesting in Dungeon Meshi, not only that it's not really horny in the same way, but a lot of the food portrayal is also about catching or growing the food is an integral part of making the meal, which I think is like awesome. That's like really cool and interesting. There is a part I keep thinking about where the dwarf, who is sort of the wizened elder of cooking in the dungeon, is growing vegetables on the backs of dirt golems.
Man, I love that. That's so cool.
That's so fucking cool, dude. It's so cool. He's like, how the hell do you get like fresh carrots and cabbage when you're like 10 stories down in this horrible dungeon? And he's like, check this shit out. I just grow them on the backs of these big guys. And it's like, oh, that is so cool.
Now that's good world building right there. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. He makes sorbet by spinning cream through ghosts' bodies.
Because ghosts are cold.
Yeah. I love Dungeon Meshi so much.
I'm so excited. All right. I am starving now. I need to go eat. So I want to circle back to one thing. What was that first one you mentioned to me? Toradora?
Toradora. Oh, God. No, it's Toradora is guilty of other things. Toriko is
Toriko. I've never heard of that. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
I shouldn't have said anything. Oh God! Oh.
All I had to do was type in TOR and Google filled in Toriko author crime.
Toriko author crimes. Oh no! And it's another friend of Oda's. Oh God! What is happening? Oh no, dude! Oh God!
Why does this keep happening?
It's Oda, but it's that one Onion article that's like, why do all of my friends keep committing sexual crimes? Oda, my man, come on with this shit.
Well, surely he must have had to at least pay a fine of $2,000.
Well, you got to account for inflation for these things. It's probably 4,000.
All right.
Okay, that's enough food.
Yeah, that's enough for me now.
You're killing me with this. You're killing me.
Yeah, you don't eat because they're not going to put in Venom. So stop thinking about it. Just starve.
I need them to rewrite Venom before I will eat a single burger as my American taste demand.
See, you should be fasting for like a worthy goal. Like I don't know, not until they put a Tom Hardy skin in there.
How do you know there isn't one? Oh man, the skins, like half of them are the ugliest shit you've ever seen. I'm really disappointed by that.
That sucks to hear. I really like the skins in that first game.
Yeah, I love the game, but man, they could have done a better job. Well, anyway, that's not anime.
No, God.
But we talked about a lot of anime this episode, and we're going to talk about some more anime next week. Maybe some, like, what do you think? Some Christopher Columbus themed anime?
Oh, yeah, let's do a Columbus.
When's Columbus Day?
I don't know.
Fuck if I know. I'm a bad American. Am I stupid? Am I assuming that's like in November?
I think it already happened.
Oh, it was this month. We missed it. It was October 9th.
Yeah, no, we missed it.
Okay.
No, next we got to talk about Thanksgiving anime.
We're gonna talk about Pilgrim anime for the rest of the month. Some straight up colonial shit. How about that?
I can't wait for Vinland Saga to get to the Pilgrim arc.
They have reached America. We are sort of in a thing. We could talk about that, except you're definitely not going to read 1,000 chapters of Vinland Saga by the next episode.
Oh no, hell no.
No, you would never do that.
No, I can't read.
Yeah, despite like you should do that because Vinland Saga, you rule. You kick ass. Love you, Vinland Saga. Like, holy shit, what a great manga. Damn, dude.
All right.
Okay, let's get out of here. Go check out, I don't know. Check out the Blue Sky account. Check out the TikTok account. Follow us on there.
We're uploading stuff. We're doing stuff now. There's activity on there, so check us out, please. At Anime Death Spiral.
I'm not even going to say it again because it makes me feel so bad. So do it this time so I don't even have to think about it again.
I'll keep saying it.
Okay. Yeah, Nate can do it. All right. Handsome and beautiful listeners, we will talk to you in 7 days.
We love you. Goodbye.
Bye. Best there ever was. One hit, right between the eyes. Drop him.